Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.
All right, welcome back. And we do have a very special guest, and I'm going to bring him on right now. Shit, let's not waste any time. I'd love to introduce my good friend and fellow Drake enthusiast, Joe Coscarelli.
It's me. Here we are. Let's do this.
Joe, before we begin, I want to ask you a trivia question.
Okay. All right. No Googling?
You can't. This is ungoogleable.
Okay.
When did we first meet? When was the first time we met face to face in real life?
Wow. Okay. It must have been like 2000 and I want to say 7.
You got the year correct.
I want to say I came to Queens with our friend David. Is that right?
Buzz and Mel.
Okay. All right. I remember. Let's put it this way. I remember we listened to Rich Boy. Is that right?
Maybe that was the second time. Buzz and Mel. All right, I gotta tell you.
Okay, all right, go in.
I was standing outside the Apollo. I talked about this.
Shit. Okay, all right. I know where you're going.
Review.
I know where you're
going. David said he's gonna come and get the camera on mixtape, and he's coming with his friend Joe, who knows a lot about rap. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see about that. So you guys came, and I met you, and we talked for about 15 minutes, and I'm like, you know what? This guy knows a little bit about rap. He's not as pro 50 Cent as I would like to see in a rap fan.
Yeah, we were strong. We were strongly Team Cam in those days.
So definitely, that raised some eyebrows. But apart from that, the first time I ever met Joe was outside of the Apollo Theater.
Waiting for the Public Enemy mixtape in hard copy.
Yes. Which is, by the way, worth $190 now if you go on Discogs.
Was that the debut of Vado on that tape?
I don't think Vado was on that tape. I think Pens was on that tape. Remember?
Okay, it was Pens. Yeah.
There was a lot of Pens on there.
That was a historic moment because everyone was waiting for Cam to show up to pass out the mixtape. For hours, just in a line in front of the Apollo, a line to nowhere, right? But I remember the Pink Range showing up, but Cam was not in the Pink Range. But obviously everybody knew what it was. And it recently came back to me when he did that freestyle last year, just like standing on the street, and like someone posted it to Facebook or whatever, just Cam freestyling for 5 minutes. And he says in the freestyle, if I don't go personally, I send my cars to the funeral. And I was like, that's what he did to us at the Apollo when we were waiting for the Public Enemy mixtape.
And Joe just corroborated my story from 2 weeks ago when I said 3 weeks ago now. The pink Range Rover showed up, but Cam was nowhere to be seen. We did get our mixtapes though.
Facts, and I think Chris Maggio, former Rap Rankings podcast guest, was also there with us.
He was. He was.
Yeah,
we were rolling deep. So,
and then, all right, and then the second time we hung out, I feel like we just listened to Chevy a Monster on loop by Rich Boy.
Yeah, we listened to Rich Boy. That was when we really started to kick it. This was just outside. This was outside of a venue. I'd never met you yet. I had to get a feel for you. I believe I'd already met Chris at that point, but I was not sure about you because whenever people say someone knows a lot about rap to me, I'm like, all right, why are they telling me this?
Especially like a skinny white dude,
Right. And then you show up and I'm like, all right, this dude, he looks like what we would later come to know as Jack Harlow or Little Tony Khan mixed in there. And I'm like, this guy, really? But no, Joe is someone who is one of my favorite people to talk about rap with. One of the only people when major event albums come out and Taylor Swift albums.
Right.
I always check in. I got to get the read. I got to take the temperature, see what Joe is feeling. And, Yeah, thank you, and welcome aboard. Welcome to Rap Rankings.
I would say we've been going on 15 years of doing this, right? Like, and honestly, I was a little hurt because I feel like there was a period in there when you turned away from rap music. It was, it was your bread and butter. It was
true?
Let me say how it looked from afar. I feel like what happened was you dedicated your life to it, right, up to a certain point. And then, you moved to the West Coast, away from the gritty realism of New York hip hop, and you maybe felt a little betrayed by the industry, by the artists you grew up with, and I feel like you really turned a lot of your attention toward wrestling, which is cool. I'm happy for you, and horror movies, which are also always your bread and butter, alongside. But I feel like this podcast brought you back.
Wow. I mean, Joe, I gotta say, from the outside looking in, you're a very, what I would say, astute observer.
Thank you.
I think the truth is, what happened was I first came out here, and I actually experienced a little bit of like a creative renaissance out here, especially with my beat making, and I was able to get a job in the industry.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Things were going well for me, and then they weren't. But while they were, I thought like I was entering the next chapter in my musical journey, and I never left music, even though, I stopped tweeting as much about it. Right. And I preferred shit posting about wrestling, but this show, what I had been doing for the last 4 years was working with Melvin and not making the majority of the stuff. It wasn't rap music.
So you're going to blame me for this.
So, okay. I was following sort of Melvin's whims and, trying to help develop him as an artist. And I got to say, I did let things fall to the wayside a little bit.
Right.
But I have to say the show's brought me back in a major way. And I appreciate like it's not often that a man is told what is happening in his life without he's living it, But,
right.
No, I think that's a fairly astute observation, at least from the outside looking in.
Yeah, but, I think, look, we are all getting older. We all go through ups and downs in the major relationships in our lives, and I think one of the major relationships in your life is with rap music. So it's only natural to have these
it always has
peaks and valleys.
And the thing about rap music is, I think being so close to it after a certain point kind of removed the magic from it for a while. For me, like, and having
keep
almost
going. You're touching on something.
Having almost a safe distance from it now is allowing me to enjoy it as a fan again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm finding with this show, like, this show hasn't sort of like reignited my passion for beat making, for rapping, for anything like that. But it's sort of done the opposite in the sense that it's reinvigorated my interest in rap as a fan.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I'm with you.
But I think to be able to do this, you do need a safe distance from your, I have to enjoy wrestling. I have to enjoy horror movies, because if I'm just mainlining rap 24/7, 365, I'm going to be miserable.
Yes. I get it. It all makes sense. It can't be a job and a passion at the same time, or it can, but it's difficult to keep that up.
Right. Well, unless the passion is the job, which, I think with a show like this, I'm able to still get out ideas creatively, but keep it within the box, keep it within the lines, and, kind of talk about shit that people care about, as opposed to, just trying to market myself or Melvin as, valuable entities or whatever. Provide some color to these things that, quite frankly...
Whoa.
And you ain't black. Okay.
So... I provide the color. That's what I do.
I will say that it's possible that the album we're discussing today marks maybe the end of our youthful glory days, of the golden period of our, sort of youthful rap fandom, right? Which I would put at
nothing was the same.
Yeah, nothing was the same.
Hey, the moment I stop having fun with it, I'll be done with it.
It's like, I think from say 2007 when we met to 2013, that I think that's a golden period for our fandom, or our generation's fandom, at least.
I'd pull it back a couple years.
Yeah, I mean, look, high school, obviously, middle school, whatever. Like back.
The G-Unit soldier. I'm gonna go at least Get Rich or Die Trying till 2013. I mean, Yeezus and Nothing Was the Same hitting in the same year.
Yeah,
was pretty monumental, and that was like a crazy summer, crazy year in general. And those were, I mean, that was really like, 2013 was the year that I finally had to kind of make it on my own. I was completely, had to, completely take care of myself.
Mm-hmm. It was the end of something. The end of something for sure. Maybe our youth.
Perhaps, but you're only as young as you feel in your mind, I think, to a certain degree. You can still keep up with the rap of the day and enjoy it, but there is a certain magic that was lost after this for me, after this year.
Right. Well, then I'm glad we're talking about it.
Well, listen, I'm thrilled to talk about this one. Furthest Thing. So, Mel, do you want to talk about the rating system? And before you do, I just wanted to finish. I feel like film and, oddly enough, wrestling and pretty much every other subculture has so much obsessive documentation going on. And unfortunately, there's not as much of that with rap, and where there is, a lot of that stuff is hanging in different places. You might get one interesting thing out of a DJ Vlad interview, but I'm not going to recommend people go to his page and check out all his interviews. So, there's history that's buried in these places that we have to sort of unearth. Yes. And try to do that while also kind of entertaining people at the same time, because I don't want to just load people up with information and not.
No, I think you're right. I think, obviously the sort of historical archiving of hip hop is notoriously lacking, and especially in that period of time we were just discussing, the sort of like post CD, pre-streaming era, the blog era, the mixtape era, whatever you want to call it. So much of that stuff is lost to history. This is a tangent, but I was trying to listen to Family, the Bieber record, this week, and it's just not on streaming.
I got you. I'll send it to you.
Look, I know how to rip a YouTube video. Like, I'm good.
Oh, no. I got the 320, baby. Come on, you know me.
But just things like that, and even thinking about Drake as we're doing here. I think I'm not alone in my first experience with Drake. Was I started listening to him basically when Lil Wayne said it was acceptable to, and downloading Ransom off of NotRight.com. And you just can't even, that webpage doesn't exist anymore.
Is Not Right gone?
I don't know how much Not Right's gone, but I don't know what the Internet Archive has in store over there. But I was looking for
shares. I mean,
exactly right. All the links are dead. That's for sure.
Went there, it says our website is under construction, and then there's like it appears to be a woman that looks like she stepped out of Midsommar, wearing this. I mean, you can look it up yourself.
But yeah, I wanted to reread the comment section from when Ransom was posted, because I remember it being great, but who knows?
Well, about that comment section on Not Right, before people get ready to start waxing poetic about the blog era, as they always do. That site was never one of my favorites because they had this bad habit of just like continuing conversations and posts that had nothing to do with what they were talking about.
Yes, it was an all-day chat room, and everyone moved with the new posts.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, it wasn't like that on the other side. Like, it wasn't like that on Two Dope Boys and any other stuff. So I'm like, what's going on here? Like, I would go in the comments and I'm like, what are these people talking about?
Chaos. Chaos. Is what's going on there.
Pure chaos. But yeah, you're right. It was a bunch of regulars coming to hang out every day, jumping from post to post, talking about whatever they wanted to talk about.
Yeah, they needed a forum or a message board of some sort there to organize all that. But yeah, the blog era. But
you sound so weathered thinking about it.
You have no idea. So I guess you guys are ready. I'll talk about this daggone rating system we concocted many years ago in the dungeons, the slums of Shaolin, if you will.
Let's jump in. Tell me about it.
All right. Well, the rating system is simple. Each song is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. These numbers do not reflect the quality of a song, as that is indeterminable. Instead, each number reflects a level of enjoyment. In short, here's what each number means. 10 means this is a perfect song to me, one of my favorite songs of all time. 9 means I love it. 8 means I like it a lot. 7 means I like it. 6 means it's all right. I don't dislike it, but I can't say that I like it. 5 means I feel practically nothing about this. 4 means it's not the worst thing I've ever heard, but I dislike it. 3 means I dislike it. 2 means I hate it. And 1 means I absolutely can't stand it. One of the worst things I've ever heard. Side note, you could add a plus or a minus to those numbers. It has no mathematical or statistical value. It doesn't change the ratings at all. They're just indicators. I mean, one of two things. One, it's like saying a strong or light version of that number. Use a 9 plus, like a strong 9,
Mm-hmm.
5 minus, light 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's also an indicator that could go up or down in the future because the ratings aren't static on this show. We got the whole segment dedicated to changing ratings called I Was Effing Tripping. So, that 7 plus, you telling the audience it could be an 8 minus one day or a flat 8, or it could drop. You do whatever you want to do. It's rap rankings, baby. But,
love it. I love the flexibility.
Yeah, I mean that's life. Life is flexible.
Right.
It's
one day
concrete.
slow jams is an 8. The other day you're like, oh man, this shit sucks. It's definitely a 5. At minimum.
Speaking of which, Moulz, I mean, we haven't gotten to actually do this in the order we're recording this episode, but yeah, one day, guilty until proven innocent is a 9 minus, and then it's an 8 plus.
Oh, is that true?
You'll have to find out.
Wow.
But yes,
okay.
It's true.
Oh my
it's
God.
true. They want to know. Well, they've already heard it if they've been listening in order, but you didn't know until I just now told you. They said, Mel, did you get bullied into changing that?
It sounds
rating?
like you got bullied.
No, I re-listened and we've gotten deeper into the show, and we're out of the Jay-Z season, so that Rockefeller microchip is kind of like it gets weaker the further you get away from Jay. So it's like it was like, okay, I like it a lot. I love this song with this man that I don't like singing about not being guilty, even though we know he's completely guilty. Like, what am I doing?
That's right, folks. Now listen, this is how I can say, folks, protest works. We can push him to the left. All you have to do is just keep applying the pressure. Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
I'm glad to hear this news. I'm not upset in the least bit, but let's get to the point of the matter here, which is Furthest Thing, produced by Jake One, Hagler, and 40.
Yeah, shout out to Hagler.
Is that Hagler?
No.
Oh. Okay. Well, yeah, that's what we're doing here.
Now, we always give the guests the opportunity. Do you want to rate the song first, or would you prefer that we rate it and then you?
I'm confident in my rating. It's not going to change, but I want you guys to go first.
Okay. Mel?
Okay. Furthest Thing is, for me, an 8 minus.
Okay.
I like it a lot.
Well, for me,
okay,
I give this one an 8 plus. Ding me, baby.
All right, guys, there's going to be too much agreeing on this podcast because I am also an 8 plus, a strong 8 plus.
Moulz and Joe connect. There we go.
It's a white boy summer, y'all.
I do want to say I just did a little clicking around while you guys were doing your rankings, and Hagler also produced Fire and Desire, which is, to me, a top 10 underrated Drake song. So
I will agree with that.
I'm going to go ahead.
Initially slept on it.
I'm going to go ahead and say Hagler is the man. Whatever he's doing out here.
Shout out to Hagler. You know, we love you here on Rap
We're
Rankings.
haggler heads over here at
Yes.
Rap Rankings.
Yes, he also has a credit on trophies. So look, Hagler
Oh, so
Hagler
that
has
might have been
hits.
a misstep, Hagler. You know, get yourself removed from the credits of that.
And Teenage Fever. That's a
Oh no!
that's a pure Hagler production.
Oh, he might be the worst. I'm sorry, Hagler.
But that's a real. I mean, like those 4 Drake songs: "Furthest Thing," "Fire and Desire," "Teenage Fever," and "Trophies." That's like a wide range of Drake.
It is a wide range.
He needs to pick a K.
Listen, he's not even talking to Nicki. Communication is breaking. You know, he needs him. He needs her in his life to check him when he's tripping and giving Drake bad productions. Okay.
All
This
right.
isn't a bad production to me.
Now, this
And
is not a bad production.
I
This is
just
a
want to
good-
start off by saying this is going to come up a lot throughout this review, so I just might as well say it now because it applies to the entire album, and this song is a great example. It's really the first example we hear on the album of what makes this album so special. And to me, I don't agree that Take Care is Drake's classic. I still think there's something premature about that album. There's, you have your Make Me Prouds on there that don't fit in with the aesthetic of Take Care. The thing is 19 tracks long. There's no cohesion in the sequencing from track to track. We go from Look What You've Done For Me to Hell Yeah Fucking Right. I mean, Drake vocally still doesn't sound as confident as he would go on to sound. This is the album where the singing and the rapping were no longer, for the most part, delineated to their own tracks. It's a fusion of singing and rapping on every track, which you get the best of both worlds. It's not these somewhat limp R&B songs and then these rap songs full of bravado. He's taking the two things and mixing them together to make what is, in my opinion, sort of the ultimate synthesis of Drake. The Drake that we know today was born on this album.
And I think Furthest Thing is a great example of that, right? Because it combines the rapping. It's a 2-part song, first of all, right? It's a mid-tempo R&B-ish song, and then it's a straight bars, sample-heavy song, a Drake classic mode. But in the first part, he is doing that melding of rapping and singing like you're talking about. And I think that 40 is the one that really, really, really shines on this album and on this track, and particularly in the first half of Furthest Thing. This just sounds so pristine. The production is unbelievably good. The mixing, the mastering, the way the vocals double up, like on the second time he goes through the chorus, the little touches on it are just, immaculate.
I completely
all of that
agree with
initial
because
awkwardness has been shaken off at this point too by Drake, like in his songwriting, his ability to switch up his melody, mid verse.
Yes,
We start to see all those things that would come to define him. Maybe just on this song is, as you were saying, a great example of, where Drake would go from here on.
So I want to give you guys a little theory and the main reason I picked this song, which is that for the first 3 Drake full lengths, and arguably So Far Gone as well, the second track was really special. And I think they're all of a piece. I think it ends on this album, but I think if you look at Karaoke, track 2 from Thank Me Later, if you look at Shot For Me, track 2 from Take Care, and you look at this song, Furthest Thing, I think they're a trilogy. I think they go together. I think, they're sort of mid-tempo, mostly singing. I think they're like peak nostalgia Drizzy, he's really in his memories. And they just have that classic 40 sound. And I think the way those songs grow, I think Karaoke is amazing. I think Shot For Me is even better, and I think Furthest Thing is the perfection of that.
I'm gonna say something about Drake's intros because I'm of a different mind than a lot of people. Apparently, I don't think he has the greatest intros. Other than Legend, none of his intros have ever really blown me away.
I agree.
They almost always feel like a status update and an introduction before the album starts, and then the album starts by track 2.
Yes.
Like, you're thrown into the album mode by track 2. Now,
hold on a second, Moulz. Hold on. We got a call in here from Drake himself about Moulz's takes on his bad intros. Here's Drake.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Listen, you could debate and analyze. You could go on ESPN.com /message boards / we don't give a shit, and you could comment on there.
Wow. Okay. Well, I agree with Drake. I think his intros are great, and you're out of your mind. But it's okay. It's okay. This is a show where everyone can say what they want.
I think they're hit or miss. You know? I think like Tuscan Leather, I get what he was going for. It was really exciting at the time. Hasn't aged that well.
I'm glad you said at the time because I still like it. But yeah, it was more special to me then.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of replay value. Like some of the clunkiest bars of all time. Just like and like the samples, like they're cool, but they're like event samples. Like they don't sound that good. It's just like cool that they exist.
I wanted to bring that up, in relation to this track, Furthest Thing. It's like, you guys already pretty much touched on it, but it's like, this track is where we really get into the sound of this album and this era of Drake. The intro on this album is sort of a gimmick because it's like, hey, look, I'm going to flip this same sample 3 different times. It's like, okay, you got that out of the way. Now we get into the sound of the album, which to me, Take Care is definitely a cold sounding album in moments, production-wise, but there's a warmth across the album in certain tracks. I think about like Cameras or, Look What You've Done. I feel like this album, Nothing Was the Same, turned up the cold. It's like icy now. It's like night drive music. I'm thinking of Connect, Furthest Thing. It's like we got these lamentful, reverse noises in the beat.
So much backwards 40. So much backwards shit.
Much backwards 40. This man was watching Twin Peaks or something. I don't know. But like, this was, he was really digging and I'm digging it too. Digging it too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But this is, when I think of this album, like just, on a day-to-day, like the album pops in my head, I think of songs like this and Connect because they sort of encompass the sound here, So, and to what you said, that was very interesting, like the second tracks on this album sort of being like a suite, because I never thought about that until now, but I think there is sort of a thread there because they're usually, one thing I wanted to mention was they're always about, like you said, his memories, but it's like that lost love sort of thing.
Yeah, those
like
3
karaoke's
for sure.
like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Francis and the Lights, by the way. Big shout out to Francis. Gotta give him his shout out because that's that man's doing. Okay,
I was gonna say I went to a Francis and the Lights show at I think it was this place La Poisson Rouge.
La Poisson Rouge. Yep. Downtown Manhattan.
Sounds fancy.
La Poisson Rouge. Okay, so I was at that venue.
Yes, Lyle, you are the first Francis head that I've ever known.
He put me on to him, and I'm forever grateful.
Yeah,
thank you, Lyle. If I've never said it.
David put me on.
I know
Mojo,
because you know why? Because when we met, Lyle, David and I were living in an apartment in the East Village, and our upstairs neighbor ran a label that had signed Francis initially, and this was all while they were working. I remember Jesse, this guy, telling us that his artist Francis was working with Drake on his debut album, and then we got Karaoke, and I was like, "This is the best song I've ever heard."
So
hot take. Well, this is probably a hot take because people always like underrate that or not talk about that song, but Francis should have kept
it.
Because I think he would have delivered it back.
Yes.
Because here's the thing. I made an edit of that song where I just take out Drake's verse and run the chorus one more time, and it's better. But seeing Francis perform that one live, I was like, yo, he fucked up because, I mean, Drake never called again.
Right. Drake never called again. Although I would say Francis has gotten to make very interesting choices in his career, hasn't done a lot of what he doesn't want to do. And I think that all starts when you when you debut on a Drake album. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you have the resume to be able to have the auteurist career that he's had without having Drake as the first line on your CV.
That's interesting. It's a good point.
But
You know, I like the Drake version for the record, but the
I like
Francis
it
version
too, but
would have
it's
been
nothing.
just
It's nothing compared to.
it's clearly a Francis
Yeah.
song.
Well, you know
And-
something. I got a little bit of it. I got a little snippet, Mel. I got a little bit of the audio from that night recorded off of the cell phone, so it's not the best.
but we don't have the
quality.
reference. We don't have the karaoke reference track, do we?
What do you mean?
I don't-
I mean, does one
like
exist?
I'm saying, I halfway do.
Right. You have the live
I halfway
cut.
do. Here it is.
You know,
Live
it's-
edits and rarities. Karaoke.
While you look for that and send it to me, I just want to say it's funny. You know, the more you find out about music, you know, in 2010, you know, I was 3 years into my music career as an artist, but like I didn't know who Francis and the Lights was yet, and I wasn't like looking in the credits or anything. But something always felt different about that record, where you know it made sense when I find out. It's like that's why he's never quite made a record like that since, because Francis gave him that. You know, that was, you know, he wrote that, you know, and Drake did what he did with it. And, you know, it like blew my mind later. It's like, oh, okay, so you can sort of pick up on when an artist, you know, has been gifted a song or like someone co-wrote. Like that's one of those instances now where it's like makes total sense.
And also obviously the first pure example of Drake doing that in his career, which then he would master, obviously, you know, with everything from Hold On Going Home to One Dance and, you know, basically he's just so good at taking somebody's sketch and then making it a masterpiece. But as far as thinking of that trilogy of track twos on the first 3 Drake albums, like I think the other thing, and I count myself in this, is like those are 3 very underrated Drake tracks. When Lyle asked me, you know, what song I wanted to do from this album, I don't think I hadn't listened to Nothing Was the Same in years, I would say. And I don't think I even remembered what Furthest Thing sounded like. My initial pick, you know, was 305 to My City, just mostly because I wanted to laugh about Detail. And how he's you know the Jeffrey Epstein of hip hop, and and how Chubbs taught him a lesson, which we learned from TMZ. We don't have to go into that, allegedly, you know, all around. But then I started listening to the album front to back again.
Well, Drake actually admitted it himself.
Yes, true.
And what was it? I forgot. I think War.
Yes, War. But then when I was listening to this album front to back again, you know, in preparation, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot about Furthest Thing. Like this is an amazing song. So I think that even among, you know, Drake fans, these tracks get forgotten.
Take for you, Joe.
Let's hear it.
So the furthest, you know, the second half of this song, which is produced by Jake One.
Yep. G Unit.
Yeah, there you go. So, you know, we always show respect to our in-house producers over at the G Unit, you know, the G Unit Armory.
Yeah.
So shout out to Jake One.
Yeah.
Here's my take. This is the better Lord Knows.
I knew you were coming with that. I'm not gonna say better.
I'm not a Lord Knows head.
Okay.
I'm not either, actually. I think they're kind of in a similar space.
They are, but this one's less OD. It's less overproduced. Like,
yes.
And I like that. I like the way the drums kind of clip into each other. Like,
it's
the
for sure
programming
less
is cool
OD musically, but I think in terms of the effectiveness of the lyricism, to me, they're about in the same ballpark.
Oh, and the lyricism, sure. I mean, you know, neither verse to me are excellent, but I'm talking about the production more so than anything else.
I know Lord Knows has taken on a sort of mythic quality in Drake lore, and I think, you know, that's for a few reasons, like, you know, early Rick Ross, obviously. Is it the only Just Blaze Drake song?
I could confirm that.
I think it might be
a minute.
Yeah, you know, it's certainly the biggest one. You know, whatever. I think I think that it's generally, you know, to stick with the overrated underrated scale, I think it's generally overrated, but I still think it is a very good song, and I think very important in the Drake development. You know, for him to be able to be considered a real rapper.
He's Jewish. What is he talking about, Lord?
Oh, here we go with this again.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Lord, if he
I don't
wants
talk
to.
about Lord. No. Okay. Here's the thing. Yes and no. He rapped on the Ignorant Shit beat on So Far Gone,
Sure.
but that was not an original.
Right. Obviously, that doesn't count.
And he also rapped on Dear Summer on Comeback
Right,
Season.
but those don't count, obviously.
No. But yeah, that was the only Just Blaze. I mean, Just Blaze was not very prolific after, like, in the last decade,
Right.
I would say.
Right. Yes. Just house beats on MySpace.
Yeah.
And
And Slaughterhouse stuff.
Right.
That never came out.
All right. Let's talk about this about the Jake One half. Let's talk about the rap half. I have a few things I dug up in my research that I liked. First, I love Jake One calling himself an album cut assassin. That's just like such a good like. It's like half humble brag, like a little bit self-deprecating, like basically like I'm never gonna get you a hit, but like I'm an album cut assassin. And to have like the second half of an album cut is like the album cut of album cuts, you know?
Yeah, that's an album cut within an album cut, for sure.
So I love that. Shout out to Jake One. I learned that he produced the John Cena theme song, which maybe means something to you, Lyle. I don't know.
Yes, he produced The Time Is Now for John Cena, but he revealed on the Waste of Time with It's the Real podcast that he does not receive royalties for it, so don't stream it.
Wow,
What?
he does not own his publishing for the biggest song he's ever made?
No.
Wow. Dark.
He says he's never gotten paid off of that, aside from
Listen,
the
he
initial...
hit up that boy Vince McMahon and was like, "Yo, can I get a little bread?" And you know what Vince told him?
It will never happen. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Not ever.
Wow.
Sorry,
wow.
Jake.
I mean, music is a dirty business, as is wrestling, obviously.
Even dirtier.
Two of the dirtiest businesses.
Yeah, but there's a good NPR interview from When Nothing Was a Thing came out with Jake One about Furthest Thing, about him digging up the sample, which he apparently had a vinyl collector that he like kept in his pocket who just gave him chops to use basically, and he would pay a few $100 like for the chop, just the guy, you know, crate digging, whatever. And Jake One would not even name the sample in this interview with NPR, which is probably like the biggest press look he ever had in his career, which I thought was really funny. And like, you know, obviously now it's like all over the place. It wasn't that much of a secret. But do you know the sample, Lyle? Have you done this digging?
No.
So
I have not.
The sample is from a live gospel album from 1990, the Corinthian Temple Choir. And the song that they're singing, this is a good Drake trivia, goes by a little title of "Hold On, for We're Going Home."
Wow.
Look at that.
That's... See, listen. 40 on Martin Scorsese. That's all I can say about that.
Oh, listen, he's got to be before something. We'll get
I got one more bit, a little, you know, of trivia, and then we'll talk about the quality of it. But they couldn't clear the sample. Also, so they interpolated it, they replayed it, and they got a choir to sing, you know, whatever. So obviously this is the Lord knows of this album. I think that lyrically, this rap is like some of the least clunky like Drake bars on the album. I don't know. Are you guys into this verse?
I would agree. It's not clunky. It's also not all that arresting.
Okay.
Right. Whereas, like, even, you know, not to get ahead of ourselves here and spoil anything, but like on the next song, Wu-Tang Forever, or on at
One of his
points on
best
like
verses.
Worst Behavior, like his third verse on when he starts with like the Mace flow, and then just kind of goes off in his own, like,
Yeah.
It's not like technically impressive MCing, but I agree, like bar for bar, if you're looking at the words, it's not, you don't get some of those usual, like, you know, she said I'm such a dog, I said you're such a bone. He's starting to shave away. He's shaving away at some of the...
She said I'm such a dog. I said you're such a bone. Yeah.
I think
he starts
it's
to chip away at that kind of stuff. By this point.
I think the flexes are like just pure. They're just like so pure Drake. Like it's just really unfiltered Drake, right? Like and the internal rhymes, like it's just. I mean, the stretch, like the naked women swimming. That's just how I'm living. Donate $1 million to some children.
Always,
like
it sounds unsanitary to me. First of all, it's not. I hate being literal now sometimes, but every time I hear that, I'm just like, I don't want you. You can put a bikini like that. Wouldn't make me feel cool if they're naked. It's probably uncomfortable to me. Who knows when the last time he cleaned his pool? There could be stuff getting up inside them women. Just no, put clothes on, and then he's talking about donate $1 million to some children. That's just how I'm feeling. It's always rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
He talks about these children as if they're
no?
just. You just throw them away like they're just something that. How about either help the kids all the time or don't help the kids.
I felt
this is all dependent on how you're feeling, Aubrey. I shouldn't call him that. I don't know him.
I felt like that was I always think of that line as in conversation with Jay's line about donating money. And
right, and to that effect, I get that that's the point is like, and I get that he's being like purposely sort of callous,
right?
Yeah, and it works.
Listen,
it works.
Rick Ross on Live Free, Die Young is the only one who's ever kept it real.
What does he say? What does he say?
Oh my gosh, he's like something about starving children. I went and bought a mule.
He's like, no, hold on, I gotta find that. Because that line is hilarious. Yeah, he's you know why he was able to get that off, because no surprise, he was on a song with Kanye West.
Right. It was that Diamonds from Sierra Leone type beat.
Yeah, here it is. Look at Haiti children dying around the clock, nigga. I sent $100,000, but that's a decent watch, nigga. Oh my God.
All right, a couple other things about lines in this verse. One, yours truly, the boy. What's the first documented use in song of Drake calling himself the boy?
The boy?
Is it this?
That might have been. It could have been, because I remember this is around the album where it sort of got ingrained in me, like the boy.
No, it very well could have been this, because there was, I think, a GQ article on the run up to this album that was like a profile about, how these things were written. They were very flowery. They talked about what the couch looked like and all that stuff.
26 on my third GQ cover.
Oh, are you talking about the article where they mention like everyone refers to him as the boy?
Yes,
like
there was
the
a specific, exactly.
Yeah.
So there was a specific reference in the GQ article about like Drake now demands that everybody call him the boy. So when people refer to him,
I don't know if it was so much a demand.
Today.
It's like all his boys, like the security, they just refers him as the boy. Like, oh, the boy's hungry.
Yeah,
the boy, needs some Pepto-Bismol. Like, it's just that's what it was.
It's funny because fast forward, however many years, Migos internally are referred to as the boys. Like what are the boys doing? In that sort of way. All right, we can. So, all right. Then the other thing that struck me listening to this recently is had to Derek knows the re-up before I got the re-up, which we're now living again. In that Drake had to get another knee surgery before he could put out a new album.
The boys got weak.
The more things change, the more they say the same. So maybe. What I'm saying is that Certified Lover Boy is going to be a classic, because last time Drake had knee surgery, he turned in Nothing Was the Same.
Wow. That's true, but here's the thing. Wasn't Thank Me Later the first knee surgery?
Oh, is this a third knee surgery now?
Yeah.
Well, what happened was, I think shortly after So Far Gone, and the footage probably says he's running across the stage, he slipped, he fell, I think he tore his ACL, and then he got it. What was it? I think he said on Miss Me, where he was like, back from what do you say?
What's really gone for surgery, but now I'm back again.
Yeah.
About my paper like a motherfucking scratch and win.
Yeah. So and listen, I think Thank Me Later is good. I like it. I like it. I like it. It's not his best, but I like it.
It's fine.
You know what I'm thinking? Certified Lover Boy is going to be as bad as Thank Me Later and as good as Nothing Was the Same. It's going to have some of his
some of
lows,
both, some of each.
We're going to get some of the worst shit we've heard from him in a long time, and we're going to get some of the biggest classics you could ever imagine.
Right.
It's going to be amazing.
All right, my last little phrase in this verse that I wanted to call out is I just chill and record as a brag. I think that is some economical writing that really speaks to this artist's dominance, and that's just the fact that he just works really hard, and like it's cool to brag about how much you record.
I think so too, as someone who's very much a homebody and doesn't,
Well, listen, what did Wayne say when he found out?
It's a classic, dare I say, iconic video clip. Wayne's like, well, there's multiple clips. There's the one after he went platinum first week on the Carter 3, and Cortez and them come on. I was recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I was recording.
Looks at the camera, flatly. I was recording. And then there's the one. It's like, I need a beat. Right. I need a producer. Man, what you doing? I go in the studio with clips, ammo. Like Wayne is the embodiment of working hard.
Which obviously Drake inherited from him in a great way.
Yeah. And to that line too about, I think it's cool that he's like, y'all party too much, man. I just chill and record. Like you said, him as a person, he works hard, but this is also that sort of, in this entire song, even back to part 1, the more melodic section, this is one of those Drake songs where he touches on that sort of everyman appeal, explicitly in the chorus here, just daggone Furthest Thing from Perfect, like everyone I know.
Right.
It's that living vicariously through him that he depends on to be successful.
Right. And almost, because I got to tell you, this song too, I feel like is another embodiment of like, this is when he perfected the IG caption as lyrics.
Right. So we need to talk
somewhere between psychotic and iconic.
We need to talk about the first. We need to talk about the first verse and whether or not it is good. Okay. Can we re-rank? Can we do the numbers again, but just for the first verse?
Sure.
Okay. Just for the lyrics of the first verse. Lyle, rank it.
Yes.
Rank it.
The lyrics only, not the music, not the melody, just like the words.
Yeah, the writing.
Okay, well, I'll read it. Somewhere between psychotic and iconic. Classic. Somewhere between I want it and I got it.
Filler.
Somewhere between I'm sober and I'm lifted.
Not applicable.
Somewhere between a mistress and commitment, but I stay down. Girl, I always stay down. Get down, never lay down. Promise to break everybody off before I break down.
I like that one.
Everybody just wait now. So much on my plate now.
Love it.
People I believed in, they don't even show they face now. What they got to say now. Nothing they can say now.
It's that scorned Drizzy. It's
nothing really changed.
Mileage may vary.
But they can look at me away now. What more can I say now? What more can I say now? You might feel like nothing was the same. I give that a 5 out of 10 as on paper.
Come on, man.
That's not like let me put it this way, Joe. Taylor would never write some shit.
Okay, all right. Wait, hold on. I can't believe you said that because that's exactly what I was going to say, is that not only would Taylor write something like that, but she did. You know what these lyrics remind me of? Marjorie from Evermore.
Oh, wow.
Okay, all right. Clips. I'm coming with clips. Never be so kind, you forget to be clever. Never be so clever, you forget to be kind. You know what I'm saying? Never be so polite, you forget your power. Never wield such power, you forget to be polite. Drake and Taylor are always in conversation, whether they know it or not. And it took her, almost 10 years to write her version of Somewhere Between Psychotic and Iconic.
Usually Mel gets me up against the wall, or sorry, pause. But usually I get Mel up against the wall. But I think right now I'm being held up against the wall by Joe.
Loving it.
I got nothing on that. Yeah. He's right.
Before you invoked Taylor, I had already pulled up the lyrics to Marjorie because that was my next point.
I love it. Finally. I told y'all at the end of season 4 I was gonna come back with a vengeance, and they said, but Mel, it's Joe, not you. I said, don't worry about that. I am feeding Joe anti-Moulz energy so he can finally check this guy and put this Joe, mad captain in his place.
This is why I've always said that Joe is one of my favorite people to discuss rap with and music in general, is because he's very observant, he's very perceptive, and he's 100% Joe. He's always going to give me his opinion. I'm not going to hear the consensus opinion from him every single time because I'm hearing what he actually feels about this stuff. And there have been times where, especially in our, days early on, arguing about 50 Cent, where he's gotten me up against the wall sometimes.
Yeah, it's true, because I was never a 50 fan, and I know that that's so elemental to who you are.
Wait, you were never a 50 fan?
I would never identify myself as a fan of 50 Cent. Do I respect what he did? Of course. Are there records that go? Of course. Like, he's 50 Cent, but I was just never a fan.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hit you with this.
Would you look at that, Kevin? It's the police.
I can't believe that.
I don't know, officer. I don't know.
That's for another episode. All right,
But
Mel.
no, that's our. That's what I'm saying is that I always love when someone can hit me with that checkmate. But before we continue, Mel, did you get the email I sent you?
Well, I did actually.
You've got mail.
But I want to tell Joe what my rating.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm gonna go with the 7+.
Okay.
The check has cleared, ladies and gentlemen.
No, because that first
check.
line, as IG caption-esque as it is, sometimes you need a good IG caption line.
Right.
I respect them when they're good, and
this.
somewhere between psychotic and iconic is a mood, as the kids
Also,
say. All right?
I feel no ways about that.
Okay.
Like it's I don't care about these lyrics. I like how he's delivering it with the melodies. Like I like how he changes it up on, girl,
Well, that's the second verse, which is better, which is much better.
But I'm saying, like, just in the overall song, I don't care about the lyrics as much as I care about how he's delivering the lyrics on the record.
Well, he got much better at delivery on this album.
And that's what elevates the record from songwriting is a 5 to me to I love the music and I love how he sounds on it. That's why.
Bro, the pocket he gets on I can't help it. I was young and I was selfish. I made every woman feel like she was mine and no one else. Now you hate me. Stop pretending. Stop that front and I can't take it. Girl, don't treat me like it. That whole portion, when I first heard that, I'm like, yo, I don't know how to write
lyrics,
songs. Like,
when
this
you
is
see
brilliant.
it on paper, it doesn't look like fucking poetry, but it's how it's delivered.
Right.
It's all in the syrupy melody. And his confidence to be able to deliver it and not sound so like light in the ass like he did on Take Care. Yeah, he still sounds awkward on Take Care. It's
technically sound, and also it represents what he's talking about. Because, on paper, it's not like supreme poetry. But the thing is, it's sort of like your thoughts are racing. You're reminiscing like, I was this and I was that, and now you feel like this. And it's perfect. That's like one of the prime examples of Drake being a perfect deliverer.
Yes. No, I think lyrically to me this is like a 6-, but he sells it on the delivery. And I also think there's something now where it seems obvious in retrospect and corny and predictable that writing lyrics for IG captions, it's like it's so played out at this point. But you have to remember this was 2013. Like you have to remember that he pioneered this. That's just. And he said that, and he said it early on. He called it. He knew what he was doing, and it was very intentional. So that's why, as ridiculous as these first 4 lines are, I think Taylor improved on them in Marjorie. But I think
well, we love Taylor
at the time. I think he was taking a risk by just how silly these lines are.
Not to turn this into a Taylor Swift podcast, but one thing I like about Taylor is she's able to take conventional.
Oh, let me hit the buzzer real quick because Joe said it was a 6- or something on that verse.
Oh, right.
Forgot to hit it, but yeah, continue.
So Taylor's kind of known for taking like common phrases, turns of phrases, and whatnot, and flipping them. And I feel like if any other artist did it, I would completely roll my eyes and be like, that sucks. Like, don't ever do that. But she manages to pull it off really well.
See, I'm against you on that. I really hate when she uses idioms and cliche, even when she spins it. I think it's her version of clunky Drake bars, but I think that she elevated on this version because I don't think these are cliche. Like these aren't idioms like whatever, Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, put the pieces back together. Like when she does stuff like that, like never be so kind you forget to be clever, never be so clever you forget to be kind. This is the first time I've ever heard that.
I agree with you, Joe, about that aspect of Taylor's writing. I think the only person, though, who's ever been able to pull that off consistently, like the flipping, phrases upside down, is Lil Wayne, honestly.
Yes.
Because sometimes it's so absurd
that
I have to respect
I feel like with Lil Wayne, like he's allowed a certain level of campiness that Taylor Swift.
Yeah, there's no comedy. There's no humor. There's no humor in when she does it. It's all it's pretty straight. So when
you're meant to take all that stuff as at face value, you might be like, "Oh, give me a fucking break."
Yeah,
but, You want to speaking? We're going all over the place, which is fine. But Mel, do you want to play this Francis and the Lights karaoke from the French place that I went to?
Yes, I do. All right, well, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Francis and the Lights with karaoke live at the Poison place.
Wow. Quentin Miller could never.
Oh, he could never.
Wow.
He could never.
Yeah.
But the big difference, I mean, there's all that extra stuff at the end that Drake didn't do, but it's the way Francis goes, if you're looking for a purpose, instead of Drake going, if you're looking for a purpose.
Drake doesn't. We'll get into that with other reviews, but like Francis, as someone who dabbles more in that genre, and I think overall as an artist goes there, Moulz, as you would say.
Yeah, he's full lounge. Really he's like full lounge singer in that version.
Full bodied delivery, and there's emotion, there's a rawness. Drake is more subdued when he sings.
Yeah, well, I'm glad
there are a few moments in his career where I can point to, like the second half of You With Me. Responsibilities, people that I need, and on the way to make this stuff, a lot of people. Like that was one of the only times I ever heard him come alive.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could sort of Trojan horse a segment on karaoke into this segment on Furthest Thing, because I do think that they...
Francis, we love you. Blink twice if you're okay. Okay, please.
Get out of there.
He's with that bad man right
Listen,
now.
if he's making you share a bunk bed with like Jeffree Star or Ian Connor, let us know. You can stay with us.
Oh no! I got official footage here. It just came in from an unspecified sender. They caught Kanye talking to Francis on camera because he caught him trying to reach out to Rap Rankings.
Don't talk to me at all. And don't talk to anyone I know at all. And tell everybody never talk to anyone that anyone knows.
I feel that.
Don't talk to themselves.
I feel that.
Don't talk ever again.
Hey, I love you though.
How abusive. We need to save Francis. Hashtag
This guy
save
is out of
Francis.
control.
Wow.
He's out of control. We gotta save that man. He's a great man. He's a great artist.
Just walk down the block, bro. Walk down the block. Go. Well, no, he's not there anymore. Shit.
Listen to Moulz victim shaming. He might not be able to walk down the block, man. Kanye's got him locked up.
Do you guys?
No, it's in.
Do you guys remember what it was like to listen to a Drake album or song without the specter of Kanye West hanging over it?
Oh my God. I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about that the other day. And I don't think the specter will ever go away.
Yeah.
It's just,
Drake is never going to get over it.
I'm not trying to psychoanalyze Drake.
He's never going to get over it.
Being a Drake enthusiast the boy's real, I don't want to say he's rattled, but it's like, it's really cheesing him, real deep down at night, mine's they say, Drake, are you okay? Or no, rather they say, yo, the boy, he's looking a little down today. And he's like, yo, no, I'm good, bro. I'll catch up with you.
Why does he yearn really for acceptance from this man, though? Why does he care about this guy so much? Because he looked up to that man. Kanye West is the reason for a lot of things, so it's like, anyway, yeah, because, we know what we know about Drake is that he respects, he idolizes he brought the Pusha T mic, bro. You know? And I'm sure when he first started working with Kanye, he was like, yo, this is Kanye West. And Kanye's Kanye, though, so he was kind of being a little bit dubious. And Drake realized it and was like, yo, this guy's kind of a snake. Like, I don't know. Like, and they had this sort of like weird on and off relationship, and it finally came to a head. See,
but this isn't
Drake needs to listen to Get Rich or Die Trying. That's on I Don't Like You. Oh, no, that's a mixtape. My bad. The G-Unit Bad News song. I don't like you. You don't like me. It's not likely we'll ever be friends. Why pretend?
Oh, man.
Yep.
Well, I'm think that's where he's at now.
Yeah.
So.
But he just
maybe had he heard it
he's
before,
still trying to convince himself that that's where he's at, which is why we have to hear it. Why we have to hear about it on every song.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Guys, I have to run in a few. You got any more questions for me, Lyle? Let's get it all out there. Nothing was the same.
Well, I actually have a question for you real
let's
quick
go.
about this line. I just want to get someone else's perspective. When he says in the second part, your whack of effort got me rapping different. I've always wondered exactly what he meant. Now, I assumed he meant like, he wanted to bury the competition further because
Is this, shit, Mel, are you going to go there?
Go where?
Are you going to say he was talking about Lil Wayne?
Oh, no, I wasn't going to go there.
No.
But that's a dimension. That's for sure a dimension.
Wayne's not on the album, not even talking to Nicki. Communication is breaking.
Oh, man, I never thought of it like
2013,
that. See, that's a third perspective.
What was Wayne even doing in 2013? I'm Not a Human Being Part 2.
Oh, man.
We don't talk about it. It never happened. And that would Future said it never happened. But I always thought he was talking about, my composition sucks, so like I'm gonna turn up even harder, like or the other perspective, and then just throw it out there, to cover the bases. Like maybe he's rapping down to the composition. It's like, yo, y'all ain't even rapping that well, so I'm gonna just start rapping less than,
But it sounds like he's talking to someone who used to show effort and inspired him, and now
but here all right, I'm gonna just cut this theory off at the knees, because one thing he would never ever say about Wayne, especially at this period of time, is your actions make us doubt you.
Right, Kanye,
which is the preceding line, and he just would
lack of effort. Like, are we talking about Yeezus? Kanye recording it in like 2 weeks?
It could be Kanye.
It's possible.
Same
It could be
year,
Kanye.
few months before this album
It's
dropped.
possible. Although, like, you know, again, like, just go back a few lines. Make sure you save a slice for me. Like, that stuff sounds to me like
it sounds like he's referring to the OGs. Like, you know, don't leave us behind.
Oh,
like,
see, I have the
like,
opposite reading. I feel like it's about the people coming up under.
Okay. Well, yeah, I always thought about it like that too. But in the framing of like, just we were just talking about Kanye. It's like, oh, like he's running off on him. It's like, yo, leave something for us. Like,
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think I go with the straight ahead interpretation. Your lack of effort got me rapping different, as in just like nobody's rapping well, so I'm gonna do it. You know, and I feel like on the second half of Furthest Thing, he's still on the same shit as Tuscan Leather, which is just like, I have to prove to you that I'm gonna like bar up over and over and over again.
Right.
I have one last question for you.
Let's go.
So you told me off air that you're not so sure anymore if you think this is Drake's best album. If it is not, what is and why?
See, it's tough. I don't rank Drake albums. I like, you know, again, I think of Drake and Taylor as like two artists that I hold in the same esteem and that I'm pretty much just like, you know, sort of like fans of in
two peas
in a pod, you know,
frequent guest Ochoa would
but
say.
But whereas I rank Taylor albums definitively, I don't rank Drake albums because I think part of it is because they're so long, and yet the two that have the most replay value to me are the mixtapes, Are More Life and If You're Reading This. Those are the ones I'll put on the most. I don't really put on the albums. I think because they just like, they just represent, for better or worse, like such a distinct moment in my life, you know, and like they just don't sound the same now as they did when they came out.
So you basically you prefer the lower stakes affairs because for that very reason, there's less weight and sort of they don't soundtrack your life as much.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm like, maybe this is too hot of a take, but like, I don't necessarily need music to age well. I think it can have fulfilled its purpose in the moment better than anything else, and that makes it a classic album, even if I don't want to listen to it 10 years later. You know what I mean?
I agree and I disagree. I agree in a personal sense. Like, something could have really hit for me in the moment, and it doesn't have to anymore.
Yeah.
For the sake of this show, though, it absolutely has to, or it's fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, otherwise you'd be lying about how you feel. You know,
exactly. Because I have to come with my modern numbers, not with how it made me feel when it came out. If I rated this album when it came out, my numbers. That's how I feel about a lot of albums. If I would have rated them when they first came out, I would have probably rated the songs a little higher. Yeah,
fair enough. Look, I mean, I think the conversation is generally correct. It's between Take Care and Nothing Was the Same as far as the proper Drake full lengths. Just like hit rate wise, the only stuff I don't like on Take Care is, as you mentioned, Make Me Proud feels out of place, feels like a forced single, not good. I don't like the Kendrick verse on Buried Alive because it's not music. And that's basically it. Otherwise, I think like all that holds up. To me, on Nothing Was the Same, the stretch of Started From the Bottom, Wu-Tang Forever, Own It, it's just missequenced. It drags the album down before it really gets a chance to fly. So I think like, I think I have to go Take Care, even though I agree with you that this is the album that he really came into his own and has some of the higher highs. I think just like front to back, Take Care worked better for me. As an album experience. Hey, listen, we're all entitled to our opinions here. That's what makes this show great. That's what makes Joe and I's relationship great, because we're free to agree or disagree with each other, but feel like, we're free to express ourselves. So. Look,
we don't put each other in a box. In a box. Yeah. After Kendrick.
40 should have just gone ahead and ran that whole verse backwards.
Wow. Well,
makes me think of that Pharaoh Monch.
Oh man.
You don't have that as a drop though, Mel. So
I don't know. I do. I don't know where it is. I was supposed to find it. It's somewhere.
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much for coming on with us here and making your Rap Rankings debut.
Thanks for having me, guys. You know, I could talk about this stuff for hours.
Oh, for sure. And just hang on for a sec once we end the recording. So
so it can upload.
And, yeah, you're free to go after that.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Guys, it was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Pleasure's all ours. Thanks, Joe.
Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.